Yeah. He said had the church outside.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I know it. I tell y'all what, I'm gonna take this sweatshirt off because I'm burning up here, and then we're gonna open up. Okay, go ahead. You can stay live. Go ahead, let's rock and roll, monkey.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done in earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us of our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name,
In Jesus' name.
amen.
Amen. All right, y'all. So we are going to get this. You don't even have to. I see it. I'm just. I can't hear you. Oh, I'm just sending it to this brother here. All right. So somebody said it was already a question online. What you got? Just tell me what you got, and then I'll determine which one we'll deal with first, because his could be long.
It's probably the same thing.
Yeah. If he deleted it, can you delete your comment? No. You can't delete it. I mean, well, yeah, he could, but he did. But they don't even disappear after? Yeah, but still. You all right? Come on, Jeff. You don't look like you all right. Go get some air, bro. It's hot in here. All right. You've been sweating for the past hour. No, I'm good. You gotta drink some more water. Water's good for you. Water saves your life. Tell him.
No pressure. It'll come when it comes. Okay, so here's the first question that we're gonna try to entertain today. So a brother online, and I'm about to just actually go to his question. I think if I go find his page, yeah, there we go. This was what he said. He said, is there scripture out of the Bible about Rome being the harlot without using another book? Thank you in advance. So without using, now I'm going to assume another book. We're talking about like pictorial people. I mean, the pictorial history of the Italian people, or last 2 million years. That's what I'm assuming they mean. So they want me to, because other than that, there's no way I can do that. Meaning I can't, because he's getting this out of Revelation 17. So let's go there first. And I can't not leave Revelation 17 to prove this. So that's the first thing we're going to establish. But I think I do understand what he's saying. So we're going to go to Revelation 17 first. And we're going to read verse 1 through 6. Yeah, he tuned in. All right. So we're going to read verse 1 through 6. And I'm going to assume he can respond, brother. You can respond right there where you just did on Facebook if you want to. If we're not on the same page somewhere on this path. But I'm assuming that he's getting that Rome is the harlot from Revelation 17. So let's read that first. So read Revelation 17, 1 through 6.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right. So the subject matter here is I will show thee the judgment of the great whore. So we about to deal with the whore and who she sits on. She sits on many waters. Now, so we don't cheat ourselves. Let's go to verse 15 first. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
All right, so that's the first thing when we look at this Revelation 17, when it said, I will show you the mystery of the judgment of the great whore, and she sits on the people. Now, the question is, because we teach that this whore is Rome. And he like proved that without another book. So we're going to do that, but there's only one problem. It's really one problem. In the Old Testament, Rome doesn't exist. And in the New Testament, if you if you probably, I would say this much. In the New Testament, when he talked to Rome, it's to that Paul talks to Rome in that one letter. John is not writing a letter to the Romans here in Revelation chapter in Revelations. He writing to the 7 churches: Philadelphia, Laodicea, whoever else he writing to. Okay, but at any rate, we'll do the best we can, because we're not going to be able to get Rome. We will be able to get the Greeks, and then we're gonna get another nation that came behind the Greeks. But I'm saying we can use the Bible to determine what nation came behind the Greeks, because you're gonna see who's ruling in the time of Jesus' day. So it's not that complicated, but we'll try to do the best we can with it, and hopefully you'll be able to get a better understanding. So go ahead and read verse 2 now.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
So this whore, the kings of the earth have committed fornications, meaning that whoever this whore is, the majority, I ain't gonna say every single king, because maybe he was a good king. The majority of the kings then got in bed with this whore. Go ahead.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now, this is important too. It's saying that this woman has 7 heads and 10 horns, because this is going to help us identify the origin of this woman. Because all of the revelation that we see shared through here, chapter 13, chapter 17, all of it is going to refer you back to Daniel, which is where we're going to really get our answer at. But go ahead.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great.
So we seeing that this woman, this whore, she's Babylon the Great. First thing it says is mystery. Then she's Babylon the Great. So right there, that's all we need to know, is that whatever Babylon is, that's who she is. Okay, but keep reading.
The mother of harlots.
Then it says she the mother of harlots. So it called her a whore. Then it said, and all the other hoes came from her. Keep going.
And abominations of the earth.
Go ahead.
And I saw the woman.
That's what it say.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
And now here's another thing to help us identify. This woman kills saints. Go ahead.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Go ahead, read a little more.
And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries with her.
Okay, so the woman is one thing, and the beast that carries this woman is something else. Make sure we understand that. Okay, go ahead.
Which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns.
Who said that? Who said that? You said it. You just said where we was at. I just was impressed. I was like, is that one of the young fellas telling me where we at? Way to keep up, boss. Go ahead.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
So now what John is doing is helping us to identify. He done already told you who the beast is or who the whore is. The whore, he said, and upon her forehead was the name written, Babylon the Great. That's who she is. So really at the end of the day, we could be done with it. Because then we could go to the lesson like we did earlier today and see all nations going to serve Babylon. So then, but then I know what he want to say, but do all nations serve Rome? Do they all, like, because at the end of the day, I'm going to take the question as if you're saying that we're wrong about the Antichrist and that we're wrong about the Roman church being the whore here. I'm going to assume that based off your question and some of the comments that I saw behind it. And the fact that you say you know the teaching, which you do know the teaching. So I'm going to assume that you're saying we're wrong. And what I'm saying is right here, when you see that this whore says it's Babylon, I'm really done. But we'll bring Babylon to Rome though. So let's go to Daniel chapter let's go to Daniel 7 first. We're gonna try to do Daniel and 7, and Daniel 8. And really, we shouldn't have to get into 11. 11 complicates the matter. And when I say 11 complicates the matter, without historical data, I can do it, but y'all gonna be lost. But I'm gonna try. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to keep y'all in the loop because it's good to know and it's there. And it's not like I got to be the only one to know. And it's all just history. And it's just a matter of, did you take the time to go sit down and find out some history? But what this brother is saying, can we do this with some other book? Well, brother, this is a history book. Like when you go to the book of Kings, that's all history. When you go to the book of Chronicles, it's all history. The truth is the truth. So sometime I might have to go to another book that has some more truth to it. But we're going to do it this way, your way. So we're going to go to Daniel chapter 7. And let's start at verse 1. And we're going to try to jump around. Oh, I'm not at the right place. There we go. Daniel 7, we're going to try to jump around. There we go.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed.
All right, so in the first year, we got Belshazzar, and he's from Babylon. So this is that Babylon that was referred to in Revelation. This like you can't play. This the only Babylon we got. So we're gonna start here. And this Babylon has a date and time in history. Like this Babylon existed. Where is that? Over there in the Fertile Crescent. What is it? Iraq? Ain't that where Babylon is? Where Saddam Hussein was, right? Yeah. All right. Right. No, we're on the same page. I'm not using the last 2 million years or all that. Right, I got you. Okay. So anyway, so now Daniel 7 and 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision on his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. Go ahead.
Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea.
Go ahead.
And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion.
So right now, what he's doing is he's having a dream, and this dream really is gonna go back to the who ruled all the world. So he was like, the first thing I saw was a lion in this dream. What about this lion?
And had eagle's wings.
So you had a lion with eagle's wings. Go ahead.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear.
So the first one was a lion. Then we got a bear. Go ahead.
And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
So now we got a leopard. And by the way, he got 4 wings. 4 wings does this leopard got. Like a bird. Go ahead.
The beast had also 4 heads.
And he had 4 heads. So this is a weirder beast. Because the lion is normal, even though it had an eagle's wings. And a bear, that's normal. But a leopard with 4 wings, and it had how many heads again?
4.
4 heads? Oh, all right, go ahead.
And dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly.
So now after that, you had a terrible beast. That's all you had. All right. So he broke down all these beasts. Keep reading, because I want to see who destroyed this terrible beast.
And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns.
So also this terrible beast had 10 horns on it. Go ahead.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
So out of the 10 horns came another horn. So, it was like it came a little horn from amongst the 10 horns. Okay, go ahead.
Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up.
And he goes and pluck out 3 of the other horns. This is what, this is awesome dream he had, And in his dream, he sees some little horn. I guess a little horn got hands and eyes on the horn, the weirdness. And then the horn goes back to the leopard and to the 4 heads and pulls off 3 other horns. Go ahead.
And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Go ahead, 9.
Yeah, go ahead.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
So he said, I kept looking at it. And then as I kept looking at it, he's like, as I kept looking at it, okay, thank you. He saw the Ancient of Days come. And when the Ancient of Days came, basically the Ancient of Days, we're going to see who that is. But go ahead.
Whose garment was white as snow, and the hairs of his head were like the pure wool, and his throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set.
That's good. We're not going to act like we don't know who that is. That's the Lord. So the Lord came. So at the end of the day, the little horn, because remember the little horn came, plucked up the three, came from that fourth and terrible beast. Like he got beat by the Ancient of Days. So basically what we just did is we just covered 4 kingdoms from Nebuchadnezzar all the way to present day. And so I guess the issue is we're saying Rome is the present day ruler. Prove it. So we're going to continue a little more in this work. So let's go to verse 23. Wait a minute. It's 23. Yeah. Go to 23. Yep.
Thus he said.
I don't want 23. I want him to break down the first 2 beats first. So go to 15. Yeah, go to 15.
I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the divisions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. The great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall rise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were...
All right, that's good. We're not going to do all that. So now we're going to go to chapter 8. Chapter 8. When I say we're not going to do all that, it's just because we can read the whole book if we need to, but we're not going to read all of it. We're trying to get to proving who these nations are, because we just saw it said it was 4 kings. So now we got to try to prove it, and we're going to use chapter 8 to help prove it, because chapter 8 going to actually give us some kingdoms, some kingdom names. All right. Now, again, let's go ahead and start Daniel 8:1.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar.
So we still in Babylon's kingdom right now. We haven't moved out of that. All right, go ahead.
A vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first.
All right, that's good. So look, I'm gonna just tell y'all the vision. It was some goats and he-goats and rams and all kind of stuff, and it was a battle came out, and one came out of it all. Like when I say that, I'm like, you can read all that on your own, but that's really what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like you had he-goats come, but we're gonna see in a minute. We're gonna go to the interpretation of it. So you like like I've read all that. I suggest you read it, but I'm trying not to take all the time on one question. All right, so let's jump down to verse 13.
Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
Go ahead.
And he said unto me, until 2,300 days.
All right, let's skip that. Let's just jump straight to 20.
The ram which thou sawest had...
See, I ain't really read it, but it was a ram, and the ram got beat. Well, the ram had won at first, and then he gonna get beat by the he-goat. So it said the ram which thou sawest having 2 horns. What is he?
Are the kings of Media and Persia.
All right, so that's the whole point that I'm hearing now. So now we finally put some name that we can identify today with something. You know what I'm saying? We already could identify Babylon, but now we got Medes and the Persians. All right, go ahead.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
And now, from the Medes and the Persians, we got the Greeks. Now, just off of that right there, nothing else. We can see right now that we're walking through world dynasty. We start with Babylon. Do I have another book in my hand? No. Do I have information that comes from another book? Absolutely. We're not going to be able to do this no other way. It's just like going back then, holding this conversation, talking to Belshazzar, like you're telling him that the Medo-Persian Empire that exists across the seas over there is coming to take over this empire. These like if you don't know a Persian Empire exists over there, the conversation means nothing. What it means? What the heck are you talking about? You know, that's just like saying if I told y'all the ants about to come take over America, you're gonna be like, what's that? The ants? I know you ain't talking about them little things on the ground. They can't take over America. Like that's the same thing that would mean unless you know something else. So at the end of the day, we have to know where the dynasties are. You know, who ruled what, when, and how. We just went from lion, bear, leopard to terrible, which we now are at the Median Empire to the Greeks. Now let's keep going. So we're going to go verse 21 and read from there. 21.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn is that between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
So what really happened? Well, they got a movie. I guess that's not a book. Alexander the Great. That's the movie. Alexander the Great beat the crap out of that Arab dude. That was the Persian. So then Alexander the Great ruled. This is no lie. Everybody knows this. Alexander the Great ruled the world. He dies as a young man in his 30s. When he dies, 4 generals take over. The north, the south. The south would include Egypt. The north, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the land is in reference to Babylon anyway. So the north would be north, like north of Babylon, Europe. The west would have been Rome. The south would have been Egypt, and the east would have been going back toward Asia. These is the 4 places that Ptolemy's, the 4 generals that came in after Alexander the Great. I'm trying not to use no other resources because I could just go get all the names, but you know what I'm saying? We trying to keep it just book. All right. Now, what verse are we at?
23.
Go ahead.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the fore, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
So now, after the Medes and the Persians and the Greeks, and the 4 that come from the Greeks, somebody gonna come from some other place that's gonna understand dark sentences and dark sayings. Now look, man. At the end of the day, man, the Pope, the most crooked dude on the planet. Like, why is we even having this conversation? I don't know. Like, when I say he the most crooked dude on the planet, yes, in the 1100s, he was the one that said he was the replacement of Christ. Yes, he was the one responsible for the Spanish Inquisition. Yes, they've been killing saints. They've been killing people. I don't even know why we're having this conversation. But we're going to keep going for argument's sake. But that's who, in the latter time, verse 23, of their kingdom, when the transgressions are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance, understand dark sentences to stand up. Now, let's go to Daniel chapter 11. This where it's not going to be easy, but this is where the answer is. Like, if you really want to know where your answer is, it's right here. But at the end of the day, Rome ain't going to be spoken of in the Old Testament because Rome don't exist in the Old Testament. It's another kingdom. Greek exists. Well, during this time period, the Greeks still exist. But Rome doesn't, like, Rome isn't at this time, Rome, I don't even know if it's Romulus. I don't even know if the 2 boys was born yet. Like, I don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you understand the history of how Rome came about, like, and then if you really understand what Rome didn't, like, kick you out your land. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we read today. It was like the Greeks, you know what I'm saying? Or in Asia. And we like, that's the Mediterranean. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work? Because they didn't come in, Rome didn't come in and take you out your land, tell you to go home. I mean, put you where? They let you stay right. Even Israel got to stay in their land. And then they ended up kicking us out our land as a revolt and kicked us out of the whole region about another 70 years later, around 136. A lot of people look at 70 AD as when we got kicked out of Jerusalem, but that is a city. We was in the whole region at that time. So we was like going all the way up to Damascus and Antioch, going all the way down to Jerusalem and Hebron and all that little area. And in 136 AD is when they officially kicked Israel out of the land. And that's when, in the history books, that's when you see the switch from Jew to us, meaning like where it was before, it was talking about Israel, it was talking about us. Anything in history after 136 is in reference to the so-called Jew in history books. Okay, so Daniel 11, and let's pick this up at verse 1. Yeah, I think it's 136 or 137, somewhere around in there. But start reading, and I'm just gonna type up 136 AD, and I guarantee you it's gonna tell me. That's how slick it is. 136 AD was a year that started on the Julian calendar. Nope, dang. Maybe it's 137. But at any rate, go ahead. We can start reading Daniel 11 and 1.
Also, I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, stood to confirm and to
Sorry,
strengthen him.
hold on. 137. So if you just type up AD 137 or 137 AD, you'll see what happened with Lucius Caesar or whatever. But this dude, this is when Israel. This is really the start of us going down into Africa and going over to India, because a lot of people don't talk about that, and going, up into Europe. This is the real start of it at 137 AD, not 70 AD. That's why when we was talking back there, I was like, what happened at 70 AD? You know what I'm saying? Because at 70 AD, we got kicked out of a city. That's just like saying you got kicked out of, Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so did that mean you got kicked out of North Carolina? Now, we got kicked out of that whole region, and our names got switched in the history books 137 AD. All right. So anyway, Daniel 11, pick it up in verse 1. And when you get there, go ahead and read.
Also, I, in the first year of Darius the Mede.
All right, so now, we was in the Babylonian kingdom. Now we in Darius the Mede. So we went from the Medo-Persian, and now the book say we go to the Greek kingdom next, based off of Daniel chapter 8. Go ahead.
Even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia.
So that was talking about Alexander the Great. So you might be like, but what do you mean? It said he was going to come up. It was 3 kings that come up from Persia, right? Because Persia was the ruling kingdom when Alexander the Great took over. So you came up from Persia. You didn't come up from somewhere else. You was right there in Macedonia. You was right there in Greece. That's where you are. Your daddy is Philip the Macedonian. You know what I'm saying? So you came up from Persia. Go ahead.
And the mighty king shall stand up, that shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven.
It's still now. So it's talking about Alexander the Great right here. And when Alexander the Great died, his kingdom got divided into the 4 winds of heaven. Go ahead.
And not to his posterity, nor according to his dominion which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for other besides those. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion.
See, that's what makes this hard, because it say like the king of the south. So now you got to know what happened in history. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what happened. Egypt. That's what happened. This is what's going on right now. This is the time period where you talking about what's the chick they always talking about who was with Mark Antony? Cleopatra. This is that time period right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, go ahead, keep reading. It's hard to do without knowing some history. These people know the history, just like you know the history. You know Abraham Lincoln was the president that freed the slaves in 1860 something. You know George Washington was the first president. Heck, that's 200 years ago. So you got 200 years worth of history that you can, and you know more than that. I'm just giving you an idea of how you know history, just like they knew history. So if you talking to them and they like, yeah, so the king of the north gonna do this, and the king, like, they know what they talking about. We don't. So we gotta go pick up another book to understand that. But again, we're gonna attempt to do it without another book. But at the end of the day, bro, you're going to need some help, because you're gonna need an education to understand the Bible. It's just like telling a 6-year-old, here go the Bible, understand it. Like, they're gonna need to learn English. They're gonna need to learn some type of language. So regardless, for anybody to ever understand the Bible, you're going to need some help. You're going to need some outside something, whether it be a dictionary, whether it be some historical information. You're going to need something to help you from the outside to grasp everything in here, everything. Now, to understand the commandments, what? Dictionary is about all you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not saying that every time, every place, but we're saying that you're going to need something to gather this. Because if you don't know, like me, I don't need it. I know all the history. So we're going to keep going. We're going to name some more names. Go ahead. What verse we at?
6.
All right.
And in the end of years, they shall join themselves together. For the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement.
See, now it's hard to see. I can see it. Because I know the time. I know where we are right now. But it's hard for somebody. You just telling somebody this, like, who the heck is the king's daughter of the South? That's your Cleopatra, though. You know what I'm saying? And then and it says, and they're gonna make an agreement with the king of the North. But how do I really know this? Because I know history. That's why I really know it. You know what I'm saying? But this would be Mark Antony. This would be that this would be that time period. Now we still trying to find Rome in all this, right? But what I'm trying to show you is the transition from the Greek, the Medes and the Persians to the Romans. You see what I'm saying? And that's the only way I'm gonna be able to show it to you. You know what I'm saying? And then we can go back to Revelations. Well, we're not going to do that here. We can go back to Revelations where it say mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. And that should be your answer, bro. And if you need more than that, then obviously, and like it has appeared that this ain't the place for it. You know what I'm saying? Like it has appeared that way. Because, you know, from what I gathered, you were challenging your brothers or your former brothers at Israel Church of Jesus. That's what you were doing, which is cool. It's just that, you know, again, you know, some stuff just like, what's the point? Like, really, what's the point? So what if the Rome ain't, what if Rome ain't the Antichrist? Like, what if that ain't how I go? And it's, I don't know, Biden. What if he the Antichrist? Okay, so is Biden getting out the mark of the beast? Because we got plenty to deal with other than a church to figure out what we supposed to be doing. You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if you can't prove it. That's just like when people say that at the end of the day, I'm gonna wait on each sign to take place at the end of the day. Like, what am I waiting on? I'm waiting on y'all to have something out here to say I can't buy or sell unless I got this mark. Now I'm gonna know tribulation done started. I might be off a day or two. I mean, I'm so dumb, I might be off a whole 6 months, but at least I'm gonna know. I'm gonna be like, yeah, we inside tribulation period now. Like at the end of the day, I'm looking for the real signs, not what somebody done told me. I'm looking for stuff that I can see and read with my own two eyes that I know gotta happen at some point, at some place. All right. Everything else is just good to know. What verse are we at?
Middle 6.
Mm-hmm.
But she shall not retain the power of the arm,
The Egyptians won't. Go ahead.
neither shall he stand, nor his arm, but she shall be given up, and they that brought her, and he that begot her, and he that strengthened her in these times.
Uh-huh.
But out of a branch of her root shall one stand up in his estate,
Go ahead.
which shall come with an army,
Uh-huh.
and shall enter to the fortress of the king of the north, and shall deal against them, and shall prevail.
Uh-huh. So what it's saying right here is basically at the end of the day. See, now we all in the history books. At the end of that's what I'm saying. It's hard to do this without history books, but at the end of the day, it's rooting itself down to one kingdom. That's what it's doing. It's four, and it's making itself one right now. Go ahead.
And
That terrible one that we read about in Revelation. I mean, Daniel 8. But go ahead.
and shall also carry captives into Egypt, their gods, with their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and of gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north.
Mm-hmm.
So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom, and shall return into his own land.
Man, all this like happened before Jesus. That's what I'm trying to, like I'm saying, all the stuff that we're looking at that's taking place, this is scrimmages and warfare, getting us from the four to Rome. So like if you don't know history, it's gonna be a rough pill to swallow. But go ahead, keep reading.
But his sons shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through. Then shall he return and be stirred up, even to his fortress.
Go ahead.
And the king of the south shall be moved with choler, and shall.
So the Egyptian king, or see, really, he's not the Egyptian king. I just keep using the word Egyptian so that we can reference when he's saying the south, the region that it's talking about. Because really, it's Ptolemy or Cassandra or Lucifer, whatever name. I'll have to go look and see exactly because I don't know who is that king. That's who we're talking about. But go ahead.
And shall come forth and fight with him, even the king of the north, and shall set forth a great multitude. But the multitude shall be given into his hand.
Uh-huh.
And when he hath taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall cast down many 10,000s, but he shall not be strengthened by it.
Yes, Daniel 8. I'm sorry, y'all. He just asked, did I say Daniel 8 is before Christ? Yes, Daniel 8 was written before Christ. All of Daniel was written before Christ. Daniel, it tells you which king at the beginning of each chapter was in existence when Daniel was written. So yes, Daniel was written before Christ. I'm sorry, bro. So y'all can know he's actually like, hitting me like as we speak. And so that's why I stopped like that. So I apologize. But where we at, bro?
13.
Go ahead.
For the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army and with much riches.
So notice what he's saying. The king of the north gonna come. Basically, the king of the north gonna come and with an army, riches, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like the king of the north gonna come in later. So back on the south. Because really, when it's all said and done, at first, the main two players, the north and the south, where we really talk about is at the Mediterranean. This is where the battle was going on between the north and the south. Really, the other two kings, they more back down and join forces. You're gonna see that because one of the kings is king over Israel. You know what I'm saying? They got that part. So they're gonna really back down and join forces. But we're gonna get there. Keep going.
And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come and cast up a mount and take the most spent cities, and the arms of the south shall not withstand, neither his chosen people.
Go ahead.
Neither shall there be any strength to withstand. But he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him, and he shall stand in the glorious land, which is by his hand shall be consumed.
All right, so verse 16. I'm sorry, y'all, that it just seems like we're doing a lot of reading and we're not getting a whole lot, but I'm trying to do this without anything else, and it's not easy. But verse 16, when he said, but he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him, and he shall stand in the glorious land. So y'all know the glorious land, that's Jerusalem, which by his hand shall be consumed. So what you got to look at, verse 16, we probably around Antioch Epiphanes now. You know what I'm saying? But verse 16, you got to look at when in history did somebody consume the glory. You know what I'm saying? This is how you really keep up with it. But this is around Antioch Epiphanes now. Go ahead.
He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him. Thus shall he do. And he shall give him the daughter of women, corrupting her, but she shall not stand on his side, neither be for him.
Go ahead.
Also this shall he, after this shall he turn his face unto the isles, and shall take many.
So this dude that came in and captured Rome, that came in and captured this promised land, is like he going to capture many. You know what I'm saying? Like all you got to do is figure who's doing this. What nation of people is doing this? It's Rome. Rome comes after the Greeks. That's who's doing it, and that's what Revelation chapter 17 is talking about. It's not really that difficult. But you know, some people don't believe 1 + 1 is 2. Like they really don't. They'll be like, nah, really 1 + 1 is 3. And we trying to break it down to you, see, because you got to put the add sign in there. You know what I mean? Don't you see 3 right there? Like you'd be like, yeah, but I see, but I'm saying, yeah, I play a game with you. I actually see 4. You forgot about the equal. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just saying, like some people are like, but at the end of the day, 1 + 1 is 2. Like, look, it's showing you the progression of the kingdoms, and from the Greeks, it went to Rome. So no, we're not going to see Rome is this, that, and the other because Rome doesn't exist right now. That's the crazy part about it. It's talking about something that doesn't exist. So it's not going to give it a name. It doesn't have a name to give it. You know what I'm saying? If it did, it would be naming it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be like the Lord just named Rome. You know what I'm saying? Through Daniel. You know what I mean? Like that. So that's why it's not going to say it that. Right. Exactly. What verse are we at?
Middle 18.
Go ahead.
But a prince for his own self, for his own behaves, shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach, he shall cause it to turn upon him.
Keep going.
Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found.
Keep reading.
Then shall stand up in his estate and
a raiser
of taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't get this without another book. Like, who did that, y'all? Anybody know who raised taxes got destroyed right after? Like, I mean, I don't know. Was it Titus? Was it Brutus? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know? You don't. Like, you gotta have some more information. Now, they might have known, because they might have been like, yo, my man just raised tax. Oh, he did? Yo, that's Daniel. Like, they might have known, but we don't. You got to get something. You're going to need some historical information. But whatever. Keep going.
And his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably, and to obtain the kingdom by flattery.
So at verse 21 right now, what you're seeing is really showing you a transition from military, from it being such a military to it being something else. Like if you look at 21, he said, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom shall not give honor to of the kingdom. Like he not gonna give no, I'm not coming in the name of Rome, or I'm not coming in the name of, Greeks or none of that. All right, because everybody else come in the name of their family, which would be whatever nation they from. Like when we start talking about Alexander the Great being Greek, no, his daddy was named Philip the Macedonian. That was their family. You know what I'm saying? It's just that he ended up being the ruler of the Greek kingdom. You see? So they was representing their families. But this guy not representing that family. This guy representing something else. Verse 22.
And with the arms of a flood shall they be overthrown from before him, and shall be broken. Yeah, also the prince of the covenant. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people.
Go ahead.
He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches. Yeah, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds.
I'm gonna make you keep reading. Like, just keep reading. I'm gonna make a point after you read this. Go ahead.
Even for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army.
I mean, you could take a pencil and write all this stuff down and write south right here and work an arrow. And you can work all of this, but unless you know some history, you have no clue what we're really talking about. I mean, it might sound good, and we could even put the pieces together in our brain well so we can remember and recall this. We can have the knowledge of this information, but we won't have the understanding until you know what really happened with the people around there. You need some names and some places and some identities. So you're going to have to get that from somewhere else that's not provided in the Bible. Go ahead.
And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yeah, they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him.
Go ahead.
And his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain.
Keep going.
And both these kings' heart shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one's table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be the time appointed.
All right, so the reason I made us read that far to yet the end should be to the time appointed, because at the end of the day, we started off in the we started off with the Medo-Persian Empire, and now we taking it all the way to the end. And so the reality is, what kingdom came in after the Greeks? Rome did. So when you go to Revelation, and I'm not going to keep reading this chapter. I'm not going to make you do all of that. We will read it till we get to 31. So 31 will take us to the future, to where we are. You know what I'm saying? So we will read it that far. I'm not going to make you read all of it, because we got other stuff to deal with. But I did promise his brother that I would attempt to make some efforts at it for him. And I'll make a statement once we done. So go ahead.
Then shall he return into his land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant, and he shall do exploits and return to his own land. At the time appointed he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. For the ships of Shittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
All right, so basically at verse 30, all you just seen was Rome. Rome went back to Italy at the end of the day. And like it did. Just think about Rome. Just think about the history of it. So here's the history. We're going to start Crusades. Crusades we're going to start really with Islam. Islam come 622 so AD. In 622, basically what happened is within a 10-year span, all of what we call the Middle East, including Jerusalem, has been taken over and dominated by the Arab. Really, he done dominated all northern Africa too at this point. The promised land has always been the promised land, Jerusalem. Always been that. So that's the land that the church say that they supposed to have from 21 jump. But right now, Islam got it. In the same time period, when I say right now, we still back in 600. During the same time period in Rome, they trying to figure out where they're going to have church at, right? They're trying to figure out if they're going to be in Rome or if they're going to be in Constantinople, which is really on the other side of Jerusalem as far as the map is concerned. All right, Constantinople is going back north. It would be northeast from Jerusalem. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's right. All right. So this is around 6. So next thing you know, the next 200 years, the Pope the church under, is it Otto the Great? Man, I don't remember. But it's whichever one that was in Constantinople. He wants Jerusalem. And so this is the start of your crusades. Meantime, it's also a battle between the Eastern Church and the Western Church, meaning Rome and Constantinople, which I'm trying to think, didn't they get moved after that from Constantinople to seemed like they moved somewhere. I don't care though. Because eventually it ended up being in Rome. So now 400 years past the start of Islam. And this is when Rome, now at this time, Rome then already had a church started. When I say they now had a church started, we know, let's take 321 AD, Emperor Constantine, Council of Nicaea. So we know at that time, this is when they started establishing their church rules. When they switched from being idolaters to being a church or with a God's name on it that everybody gonna identify with. So now in the next 300 years, you got a battle going on within Europe, and that's when your barbarians come down. That's basically when Rome falls as a nation. Like Rome falls what, around 400, 500 BC, AD, and then now here come your Muslims. Now about 800 is when your crusades start. So when the crusades start, what the Pope start telling people is, if you can get to Jerusalem and win, you get salvation. And that's why they got the movie The Kingdom of Heaven. Y'all ever seen that? You know what I'm saying? Because getting over there, that was what the crusades was about. Getting to Jerusalem, taking it from the heathens. The heathens in this case was the Muslims. You know what I'm saying? But really quiet as kept the Muslims in the land of Jerusalem, where at that time it was called something with an A or something. The name kept switching for years on top of years. But meantime, in Jerusalem, the Muslims, they ain't even doing you like the Romans. The Muslims is like, we really don't care what y'all do. We just want to be able to do what we do in the land. When the Catholics come through, they kill everybody. Like everybody in this land need to be Catholic or die. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference in the two ways that it worked. You know what I'm saying? So at any rate, they battled out up until around 1300 or so. You know, and eventually what ended up happening, the Muslims end up winning. That's who end up winning the battle over Jerusalem. And that is why today Jerusalem is Palestine. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, we gave the so-called Jews the land in 45, 46, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because the Muslims had took it. And they had took it. That's why it was under Turkey. That was Muslim. When it was under, the Ottoman Empire, all of that, the land was Muslim. Now, that's at the end of it all, though. The Antichrist or the Pope, he gonna come back into that land. Now, that's all based off the fact that whore is wrong. And if you can't see that the whore is wrong based off the Bible, then you ain't gonna see it. It don't really matter if I can show you that's the whore that sit on many waters or not. Like if you can't see that from the Old Testament, we was under Babylon, basically, to the New Testament, we under Rome, and you can't see that they thought the kingdom was coming back then, and Rome was the power then, and like if you can't see that, then it probably, I don't know if the Bible's for you. I'm not. Do you think I'm joking? I'm being absolutely serious because the Bible, like look what we just read. We just read Daniel 11. Like who in here took a class to make them understand that chapter? You see what I'm saying? Like, so number one, you got to put your faith in God to understand the book. But number two, like, you got to put your faith in God to understand. And number three, you gotta put your, like, seriously though, because this is what happens. We come here and we begin to learn the Bible. And we forget that God, number one, brought us here and got you to the start point. Because we begin to do what we told, study to show ourselves approved, right? And we get to grinding, and we get to grinding, and we get to grinding, and get to grinding. All of a sudden now, we have accumulated all this information. But what you can't forget is that it's the Lord that get understanding. So that's what you got to keep getting your understanding from. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lord ain't showing me no more than what I just showed you on Rome. Sure, that's on Rome being the whore than what we see this way. There is no other way to show it. So, you know, hopefully at the end of the day, if you can't run through Daniel 11 with me, you ain't gonna really be able to see it because this is where it's at. So I don't know. Hopefully that helped you see a little better than what you saw before, but I don't know. At the end of the day, man, if you really want to know, man, talk to Jesus. Right? This is I'm gonna read his response so y'all know, so y'all don't be out the loop. I know you are doing Q&A and I don't want to take up more of your time, but if it is a mystery, how come Jehovah's Witness, some atheists and people who don't even believe in the Bible that heard of it was the Pope, all these people, now that Rome is a mystery, Babylon is not a Oh, okay. Let's go back to Revelation 17. I think I get what he said. He said, how is it such a mystery? Like the Jehovah's Witnesses be saying that the that the Pope is the Antichrist. So he's saying, how is that such a mystery? It's easy, man. First of all, this was written 2,000 years ago. Rome wasn't nothing. I mean, like when I say Rome wasn't nothing, it was like he wrote this about 60 something. Like Rome gonna get their butt beat before this is all said and done. They're gonna get beat by 3 barbarian nations. They're gonna get beat by the Muslims. They're gonna die and come back. You see what I'm saying? So when you say it's a mystery, I'm at verse 5. Read that Revelation 17:5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the
Whoa,
Great.
stop. So why is it mystery? Cause man, they gonna come in, everybody gonna eat off this plate like it's godly, and it's not gonna be. Like, it's a mystery because you got to figure it out. You didn't learn this in first grade. You didn't go to kindergarten and was like, okay, so today, boys and girls, we're going to talk about who the Antichrist is. He's the Pope. Y'all got that? Babylon is the, like it don't come to, it's a mystery because if you walk around, when I was in class, when I was learning this and I was going to college, and in the college, I was taking history and I learned that Rome was going to come back. And I asked my college professor, I said, yeah. So I was told that Rome would come back. He said, never. He's a historian. He was like, they're done. It's over with. Now, at that particular day, I didn't know that it was coming back as the Roman Catholic Church. I didn't really get that yet. But what I'm saying, it's a mystery because look what my professor just said. He said Rome is done. That's what makes it a mystery. There's no nation Rome. Where's the Roman Empire now? Mystery. Oh, Babylon the Great. That's the origin. The mother of, I say the origin, she started with Nimrod. This is why it's such a mystery. Oh, you think it started with Rome? You think it started with Babylon? Or you think it started with Nimrod. So if you notice, the first person in the Bible really after Noah that has any discussion of any type of kingdom is Nimrod. Say he was a mighty hunter. What does that mean? He was a killer. Like, Noah got off the boat. You think they was just killers? Nah. This dude here was a killer. Mighty hunter, that means he killed anything. Animal, people, he don't care. He's not afraid of the blood. That's the first man who, so when it said the Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, there we go. Now, that's the key. She the mother of harlots. So going back to your Jehovah's Witnesses and all that, she the origin of all that. All that start really, if we want to give us a date, find me a religion that's supposed to be Christian before Martin Luther, before the Lutheran religion. Just find me one. You know what I'm saying? And then what it say? And the abominations of the earth. So go to chapter 18, and this will be it on that. And we'll see the abominations of the earth. All right. So Revelation chapter 18, and pick it up in verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to go to our next question.
And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Right. So look at what it said. Like all the nations done drunk from Babylon. How are they drinking from Babylon right now anyway? Like how all the nations? Like, well, yeah, see, we know that. But I'm just saying, if you like, right, you know that. But if you don't know the answer, how is it that what is somebody, what is the whole world participating in? What do they do? Well, you could pretty much say what the whole world do is religious holidays. Now you might be like, but not the whole world. Well, of course not the whole world. Heck, you don't either. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. You got two worlds that exist. You got the Eastern world and the Western world. We're the Western world. All of Europe, Africa, because they controlled by Europe, and America. That's the Western world. Then you got the Eastern world, which is Russia, China, and the rest of them Asians over there. At the end of the day, the Eastern world, that is called the Lord's army. So we ain't gonna act like they doing what Babylon doing. Now let's look at the rest of the world. So at any rate, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundancy of her delicacy. So look, when it's all said and done, to answer your question, is it going to say Rome is the whore that sit on many waters? When it say Rome is the whore that sits on, I mean, that this woman is the whore. Does the Bible ever say Rome is that whore? No. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. Bible doesn't even say Saturday's the Sabbath, though, does it? Nowhere. It say it's Saturday the Sabbath in there? Today, do it say Saturday? Today's Saturday, though, right? And today the Sabbath, right? I mean, so I'm just saying the Bible don't say a lot of stuff. Did the Bible say Saturday is the seventh day? No. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, so how do you know today is the Sabbath day for real? At some point, you're going to have to believe what somebody else told you. Straight up. Like somebody told you Sunday was the first day of the week and we rocked from there. Like, I mean, that's so at the end of the day, you're going to need something from somebody to understand, you know. So hopefully that helped a little bit. So here's the next question, and I'll take it before I come to the room. It says, because it's based off of today's lesson. Peace. This is from Jag Music Channel. So I don't know. Y'all know who that is? Anybody know who that is? Oh, y'all do? Well, who is it? Oh, okay, cool. Well, peace, bro. Cuz I would have been mean to him if I didn't know that. See, I'd be nice to him. No, for real. No, I would have been like that. But no, but seriously, like, it's cool. I don't care when you don't agree with me. Like, it really doesn't matter. You know, I told my wife last night, I really don't care what nobody think about me, because guess where I be at the end of the day? Right here with y'all. We be having a party in my house. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care. And here's the thing. But no, seriously, and here's the thing. When last night when the Sabbath came in, I ain't pray with y'all. I had me a whole team though. Even had little Sammy and Danny praying as we brought in the Sabbath. So I don't care where like we walk in a certain way, me and my house. You know what I'm saying? We ain't finna be a house of thieves. We ain't finna be a house of whores and whoremongers and killers. We ain't gonna be none of that. So I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? And everything I got is for them. You dig what I'm saying? And so that's how you gotta be. You gotta go get it. So I ain't even mad at this brother for going to get it. All I'm saying is, like, look, at some point in time, we had to humble ourselves to somebody that stood the ground before us. And like I tell brothers when they get some new doctrine, I'm like, bro, wait your turn. Hold on to it, prove it out, and you keep proving it. And if it's worth the weight in gold, then you'll be able to preach it once all these elders is gone. Because there won't be nobody else to tell you. But see, most people don't have that type of humility. Because they like, no, it's got to be this, this got to be that and all. And I'm like, really? So his name ain't, we got to call his name what again? And you about to try to convince all of us to do this. Are we going to hell? Don't tell me we going to hell over that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what all I care about, heaven and hell. And really, when I looked at the book, it says it's 2 commandments. Love your neighbor and love the Lord. And I don't, when I keep the holy convocations, every week, that's one rule. I don't eat no pork. I keep these feast days. Like, that's the easy part. Figuring out how to love y'all is the difficult part. Not trying to figure out the intricacies of being deep in the book. You see what I'm saying? Like, here's the deepest thing in the Bible to me. Turn to Matthew 23 and 23. It's the deepest thing in the Bible to me. Matthew 23 and 23. And then we're going to answer this question. I'm going to read y'all the question and answer it.
Mhm.
Matthew 23 and verse 23. And read that one verse right there. When you get there, go ahead.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
All right, so he's saying this is the weightier stuff. This is the stuff that's most important. Watch what he tell you is most important.
Judgment.
Judgment. So judgment is you having just that. You hear something about her and you making the right call. Meaning you heard it from me. Did you go talk to her? You know what I'm saying? That's proper judgment. Oh, you got a problem with him? Did you bring your second witness? You know what I'm saying? That's proper judgment. Like, are we dealing with one another properly? That's judgment. Because you're going to judge. You got to judge. I mean, it say don't keep company with fornicators. You going to at some point say, yeah, you're a fornicator. I'm out of here. All right. Then what else it say?
Mercy.
Say it says that omitted the weightier matters of the law. Judgment, mercy. Come on, man. That's how you deal with your like. This is the stuff that really be most important to me. All that other stuff is just cause I got a whole bunch of books in my house, so I'm gonna read it all. And I do. Keep reading.
And faith.
And faith. Go ahead.
These ought ye to have done,
Uh-huh.
and not to leave the other undone.
Not like you don't need to know nothing else. You don't need to be stupid. You need to be able to prove something. But at the end of the day, this was really most important: being merciful, having judgment and faith. So here's the question. If Gentiles are the other nations, like you say, and not Israelites, then in the the New Testament, where are the house of Israel? They are the lost sheep, right? God gave his word to Jacob. Okay, so here's how we're going to start. If the Gentiles are the other nations, like you said, not Israelites. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, I would say this. You talking about when they say Jew or Gentile? So we the Jews, they the Gentiles. Gentiles is anybody else. So I don't know if that's the statement you're talking about when it says, if you saying Gentiles are other nations. You got to be a little more specific, and we could tackle that specific scripture on what it's saying, as opposed to you just try to generalize that anytime I saw a Gentile, because I didn't. If the Gentiles are other nations, that's not what I said. As a matter of fact, I made sure everybody repeated. Gentiles are sons of Japheth. That's what I really said. So I don't know where, and I can prove that going back to Genesis 10. And you can't show me that in nowhere in the Bible that Gentile equal anything else. Now you can see Jew and Gentile written together in a letter written to Romans. So like I don't really know. I know what you want to say, but your question is not working. If the Gentiles are the other nations, see right there, Gentiles are sons of Japheth. Like Ethiopians are Cush, and Mizraim is the Egyptians, and so like them not Jew or Gentile in that case. So you might want to be a little more specific on that part of your question. And so then it says, and not Israelites, right? Then in the New Testament, so here we're gonna go to the next one. You said, where are the house of Israel? Like when you say that, I don't not see, I don't even understand. This is the part that's getting me, and to you too. Israel is Israel. We are one house. I'm so confused on why we insist on trying to act like all these boys didn't come from Jacob and that we are not sons of Jacob. Because the northern tribe got kicked out first. That's what happened. They got kicked out first. They was all bad. Somebody had to be in the land for Jesus to be born. Otherwise, he would have kicked out everybody. But they was all bad, so it don't make the northern tribes no less of the nation of Israel than the southern tribes. So I don't understand. So by the time we get to the New Testament, everybody done been into captivity, northern and southern. And everybody keeps trying to say that Judah is the only one that went back into the land. That is not true. Like, what do you think? What is the name of the most famous? What's the most famous disciple? Anybody? Judas, right? When y'all say he the most famous disciple? Yeah. Everybody know Judas. Even the rappers know Judas. They got songs called Judas. What they do? Hey, one of my favorite rappers got a song out there about Judas. But look though, Judas was from Issachar. That's why I call him Judas Iscariot. Everybody went back to the land. I don't know who lied to us and act like just two tribes went back to the land. That's bogus. That's what, yes, they are. Maybe you're not saying that, which is cool, but that's bogus. Like I can show you all kind of, like we could keep, like we said, in the church. In the church when Jesus was there. Let's find this real quick. I think it's in Luke. Luke chapter 2. Yep, Luke chapter 2, verse 36. This the Jews now who back in Jerusalem. Luke 2 and 36. Right? Because the Jews is back in Jerusalem. Salvation is of the Jews who back in Jerusalem, right? Right? Wrong? Okay. Now watch this. Verse 36. Go ahead.
And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher.
Man, we keep doing that. Where's she at, though? Where's she at? Keep reading.
She was of a great age and had lived with an husband 7 years of her virginity, or from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fasting and prayers night and day. And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem.
I'm saying she ain't no Jew. By the word, how we perceive what a Jew is by word. And what I mean by that is because we understand that Jew started as a word short for Judah. And I'm like, that have no problem with that. But who was calling us the Jew, though? Yeah, that's the key. Like, was like we weren't calling ourselves the Jews, they were calling us the Jews. And so when they call us the Jews, they were just calling all of us that. I'll show you that. Let's go over here to Ezra, I believe. Right, we're just gonna cheat and look it up. So I don't have y'all guessing. So I mean, I don't know. You can look at the class, look at the question, or listen to what I say, and rethink about how to phrase the question to get the answer you're looking for, if you like. But I'm gonna keep dealing with it a little bit. All right, so let's go to Ezra. So this is the first time Jews is in the Bible. Let's go to Ezra 4. I mean, when I say I'm gonna keep dealing with it, like, this is one thing I know. Anybody who changes their mind in one moment after feeling like they felt a certain type of way about something is a weak-minded individual. So I'm not expecting you to change. Not pointing at you, but I'm just saying, like, period. Not picking at you at all. But I'm an authentic person, so I'm not gonna act like we don't talk. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna act like that. But I'm saying, but I wouldn't expect. If you did, that would worry me. That would worry me more, or I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, yeah, I ain't buying that. And that's happened in life too, where somebody, they was like, nah, but my man changed his mind. Like, as soon as we talk, I was like, yeah, I ain't buying that, bro. I was like, did he go back and tell the people that he told that to that he was wrong? Then maybe I might buy that. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Like, but just because, hey, I can out argue you. Maybe you don't want to argue with me. Yeah, you right, bro. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, but does that really mean that's what I feel? So here's Jew in the Bible. So we're going to go to Ezra chapter 4. And we'll start at verse 1, and then we're going to jump to where it is. And when you get there, go ahead, bro.
Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel.
So notice what just happened right there. He said, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard. So are these the only people that's there? Nope. What about the Levites? What about Asher? We just saw that. What about it? See, it is known, or it is commonly thought. It's just like when they said in Genesis chapter 50, this is a grievous day to the Egyptians. Them weren't all Egyptians. But that is how the people of that land identified the people that they saw. So here, why can't I find Ezra? I know where it is. I'm in Nehemiah, so I'm going to find it. Here we go. All right, so here, Ezra 4. Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity built the temple of the Lord. And then notice what it just said. It didn't even just say build their temple. You know what I'm saying? It's like when he saw that they built the temple, it said that the children of the captivity built the temple unto the Lord, the God of Israel. Like that's all it's doing right now. Keep going.
Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your God as ye do. And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Ashar Haddon, king of Ashur. We brought us up, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of
so
the
that's
fathers.
Zerubbabel and Jeshua is the same one you're gonna find in Zechariah too. FYI. Well, go ahead. They supposed to be rebuilding the temple even in Jesus' kingdom. Go ahead.
And the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, has commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah, and troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
Keep going, because we're going to see who called them Jews first. The first time the Bible called them Jews, who doing it? Keep going.
And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artaxerxes, wrote Bishlam,
Man, I know, right?
Mithridath, Tebel, and the rest of their companions unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia.
You got that name right.
And the writing.
Skip down to 9, maybe. That'll help. We can jump some of that. I don't want to miss 2 nothing because I don't want to leave nothing out that need to be heard. But we'll skip the 9 though, and just try to work with the name.
Yeah.
Then
wrote Rehum, the counselor or the chancellor of Shimshai, the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the Danites,
and them,
all them,
the Aphorites,
the Babylonians,
the Babylonians, they go from there. Hey, we got more. The Sushites, the Dehavites, and the Elamites, and the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Asnapper brought over and set in the city of Samaria. So they're talking about who was brought into the land of Samaria. So peep the game. They still there. Israel done got kicked out, but they still there. All right. So he said the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Asnapper brought over and set in the city of Samaria. And the rest that are on this side of the river and on such a time. This is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king, thy servant, the men on this side of the river, and at such a time. Be it known unto you. So this is the letter. So go ahead, start reading the letter, verse 12.
Be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem.
Y'all see how that just worked? They calling us the Jews. How they gonna determine who all this is? Like they just gave us all one name. Because that's what ended up happening to us. We end up just being called Jews it was almost a disrespect. Like we're not calling you no Israelite. That's what you want to be called. You want to be called from the house of Jacob. You want to be called all that. We're like, nah, y'all just some Jews. Gone somewhere. It wasn't a term of respect at all. You say, like, that's the funniest thing about it, but that's how terms go though. That's how it works. It's just like nigga. Like straight up. Like, nah, hey, what's up, my nigga? Like, that's not like the same as you nigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that we have adopted. We have. Like when I say we have, like when I hear my nigga, which I don't really say a whole lot, but I hear it. And especially at a certain time, more our era, we heard it. Probably a little more. But when we heard it, it was cool. It was never the same thing as what they said. You know what I'm saying? Beyond more than what they said. It was what we thought we were to one another. You know what I'm saying? So we created it into something else. They took this Jewish term. It's like they dogging us by calling you that. You ain't even a Jew. You a son of Jacob. You so many other names. But instead, we just gonna play you and call you Jew. That's why I'm like, it wasn't even given to you in a nice manner. It was given to you in respect of taking away your identity by calling you that to start with. That's exactly what it started as. Go ahead, sis. Exactly. That's exactly what she said. Is why you thinking they put king? It was disrespect. We don't care nothing about no Jew. What is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Rome. You know what I'm saying? This is what this is. This is Rome. Rome just killed him. You had to go see Caesar. He could be king of the Jew. What the heck is that? Y'all have nothing. This is the thought process that Rome had upon us. So that's why when we saying like Jew, and then like we saying, well, the Jews are only this, and I'm like, nah, they call whoever they want to call a Jew. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we said, oh yeah, we're the Jews now. Because you would have said, not you, but you would have said Judas from Issachar. You see what I'm saying? You still would have been, you know, I'm Peter, like Simeon. You see what I'm saying? Notice her. They didn't say she was a Jew, said she's from Asher. Everybody was still claiming theirs. So now, but through a course of time, Jew became synonymous. That's the word we like to use, excuse me. Synonymous with a whole group of people. So that's why I'm like,
They weren't pertaining to the first verse, Judah and Benjamin.
no, they were talking about the people they saw. You understand what I'm saying? Like the writer at the beginning in verse 1, now when the adversary of Judah and Benjamin, because that's who they were. All they called them was Jew right there. But even the writer knows it's more than Judah and Benjamin, but basically it is Judah and Benjamin. Predominantly Judah and Benjamin coming back. Is it all for Judah and Benjamin? No. And is it only Judah and Benjamin? By no means. Because number one, we keep saying that, but what tribe was Martha from? Martha from. No, Elizabeth from. John the Baptist's mom. Zachariah. They were Levites. You know what I'm saying? So that's 3 tribes. You dig what I'm saying?
Well, we see that they joined together in what, first or second Kings? Judah, Levi, and Benjamin.
And more. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
Okay, let's rewind. Again, we can name, I could keep going and name all kind of people who came back into the land besides Judah and Benjamin. And what I'm saying is the term Jew comes from what they're saying we are. So the term Jew comes from them. We never called ourselves initially Jews. We called ourselves the tribe of this, the tribe of that. The term Jew came, and the term Jew came in disrespect to who you calling yourself. That's where it came from. That's the origin of it. It didn't have nothing. It didn't come from a place of God. Never called you a Jew. Like nowhere in the book do you see. You're missing what I'm saying. The term Jew came from in disrespect, just like Christian. It was like, oh, y'all following Christ. It came in disrespect. I ain't say where it came from. It came from the tribe of Judah. But what I'm saying is the term, it came from in disrespect. Like, oh, y'all, you Benjamin. Why are we calling you a Jew? That's disrespecting you. You see what I'm saying? Huh? No, they are tribe. No, Judah is Judah. Jesus is Judah. Paul can't be king.
Well, when they talked about the house of Israel and then the house of Judah, contained of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
No, not true. That's why I keep trying to tell you. So where's Simeon? Go to the back of your Bible. Go to the back of your Bible. Show me a map. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That is, you keep saying what I could just look on the map and see. Well, where's Simeon?
I've read it here where Judah, Levi, and Benjamin were consisted of Judah.
And did you also read where Asher was there too, right?
Yeah, because they had where was it in Kings where the lions came?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the priest. They sent the priest back there.
What year was that?
I don't know.
That was like, let's just say 1000 BC. Okay. When do we get the New Testament and the term Jew there? 1,000 years later.
No, but my thought, my thinking is when the lions came, when they sent the lions and they sent the priests back to tell them the ways of the Most High. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't just one priest.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then way afterwards, like in maybe Second Chronicles, they sent letters. Mm-hmm. I think it was King Hosea, maybe. Mm-hmm. He sent the letters to them. And
no, but yeah, I'm saying I'm following you, not right, Hosea. Right. But go ahead.
Well, whatever, whoever the king is, right?
Josiah, maybe? Yeah, but go ahead, keep going.
He sent this letter.
Mm-hmm.
He said to them, you know, not only Judah, but the other tribes. They
Mm-hmm.
were able to come back to Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And remember where they were like saying, even at the time of Passover, they were unclean, and it was that king who said that, you know,
They hadn't gone into captivity yet, though. Like that's
I'm talking about when they came out. Yeah, they came into captivity as far as Assyria.
Right. The northern tribes went into captivity, not the southern tribes.
No.
Right.
I'm talking about the northern tribes.
Okay, I got
So
you
what
now.
I'm saying is that king, whoever that king was that I'm referring to,
Josiah. Josiah.
Yeah. Well, he sent the letters for them to come to Jerusalem, even for Passover, because even at that time he had.
Right. I got what you're saying. Sent the letters where though? Sent them where?
To Samaria, where they were.
So Samaria was like a couple of miles north.
They were in Samaria still.
Yeah.
Even when
some of them.
all of them.
But they have been kicked out the land, though, right?
Not all of them.
That's my point.
Right.
Okay, so now,
that's why we get the girl Ash who was in Asher.
But follow what I'm getting at. So we saying that the northern tribe got kicked out the land because the book tells us that, right? Mm-hmm. But then we just said that that everybody didn't get kicked out of the land in the north, right?
Not all.
Right.
There was a remnant.
Right. So because the book telling us that, right? Right. Okay. So now we saying that, and Judah was in the south, right? And they became the Jew, right? And Benjamin was a part of that, right? Okay. And the book tells us all that, right? And Benjamin and Judah went back into the land, right? And Levi, right? And Asher and Simeon and Naphtali. And you get because the book. So what I'm saying, right? So what I'm getting at is they all being called a Jew. Didn't matter who they were. Anybody who came back was being called a Jew.
It was always a distinction, though. It was always a distinction.
Always, you mean it became a distinction when? Because it was not always a distinction.
It
no.
Was a distinction when you read in.
So it became a distinction when? From what point to the next?
I can't tell you.
So the distinction started with Jeroboam and Rehoboam when we split the kingdoms. That's when it started.
Right.
And then when did the distinction stop? Is the better question.
They still split.
No, when did the distinction stop where we called the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom? You know what I'm saying? Or in some cases, what it was called Ephraim and Manasseh, right? Right. So when did it stop being called any of that and it just became y'all the Jews? Why is it that it has to be that way? There's a reason that it has to be that way. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. See, it goes deeper than that. That's what I'm saying. Like a Jew is a name of identifying who they saying somebody is. Just like Africa is a name of identifying what they're calling a country. But about 500 years later, they're the rulers. So whatever they say that these people are is what these people are. Whether they want to be a Benjamite, a Danite, or whatever. No, they just say it's just like the Indians. Perfect example. All Indians ain't Cherokees, but we call everything that look like an Indian, we call them Indian. Until that Indian say to you, no, I'm a Cherokee, or I'm a Blackfoot, or I'm whatever that I need to be. Same thing with us. They call all of us Jews. They did. But if you start asking us when we knew our tribes, we would be like, well, I'm not a Jew. I'm this. I'm that. Jesus happened to be a Jew. And in Israel, by the time Jesus come on the scene, everybody in the land is called the Jews. Who calling them that? Rome. They're not calling them Israelites. You follow what I'm getting at? Like the author of the person in charge by the time we get to the New Testament is somebody else. So they dictate. Like it's just like I hate the argument, the Middle East, Jerusalem is in Africa. No, it's not. It is not. That is a lie. Africa is defined by them. So the border of Africa stops right there at each. Stop. Stop. Nope. Stop talking. Just pay attention for a minute. The Middle East is defined by them. They give it that name, not us. Asia, all of that. They give it that name. Heck, what they call Asia ain't even what the Bible called Asia. The Bible called the Mediterranean Asia. So here's the moral of the story. The land of Ham, that's what we called it. Now, when you look at Ham, does that include Jerusalem? Yeah, sort of, because Jerusalem was the promised land or the land of Canaan. But does the land of Ham include South Africa? No, because they didn't even know it existed. So that's what I'm like. I hate that argument. Even my teachers be like, yeah, Ham is in, Israel is in Africa. And I'd be so pissed to hear it because I'm like, no, it's not. Africa became Africa, what, 1400 or something? All the teachers say it. All the teachers say the same thing. Everybody says it because they're not thinking. Israel is in the land of Canaan. We can prove that. And Egypt is in the land of Ham. We can prove that. And Egypt and Israel is not the same land by Canaan and Ham term. Now, by Africa, they calling it that. You see what I'm saying? And they're calling it the Middle East. And they're calling it Europe. And they're called. So then how can we tell them Israel is in Africa when that's what they saying it is? It has nothing to do with us. So if we want to tell somebody where Israel is, tell them it's in the land of Canaan then. You see what I'm saying? If you want to be that accurate. But once you say Africa, you're only going back to 14. When did you going? But I digress on that because it's not that important to me. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's what they're saying. They're calling us the Jew. And it's a reason why they're calling us the Jew. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 where we're going. Well, I know right now. Let me see. And moreover, I will bring also, ye should be few, and the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, thou shalt have no ease. And I'm looking for the verse specific. To give me a second, we're gonna find it. Moreover, these curses shall come and take thee, and they should, and because thou servest, hold on, therefore thou should, and the Lord shall bring a nation, and a nation of fierce countenance, and he shall besiege thee, and thou shalt eat, and so shall men turn to the grass. Where you said 37? And that, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. I know that's probably what you thought. No, what I'm looking for is how he's saying that he gonna marvelously do this, take our identity away from us. And see, what you missing is by calling everybody a Jew is the first step of taking away your identity. See, we ain't Jews. Only the people from the tribe of Judah was. So it's kind of like everybody had their own. You like how Paul said, I am an Israelite. He didn't say from the tribe of Judah. He's like from the tribe of Benjamin. That's how you would have been identifying yourself. And right, because that's what they're calling us. He's clarifying it. I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. That's what I'm saying. It's disrespectful to us to have tribes. See, we don't know our tribes now. So we can't even do it. That's because that's a whole part of the process. Just imagine if we don't call you Jews, but we keep calling everybody by their tribe. So now them Philosophians, you know exactly who they are. Them the Danites over there. Them the Israelites. See, that's the whole thing. They're taking away our identity. And by doing, in part, calling us a Jew is the very start. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, a Jew is nothing more than a slang term for the people that they identify and returning back to the land. That's all it is. Now, Israelites, we all Israelites. I don't care what tribe you're from. Like he say in Peter, he said something about being the household of God or something. Like at the end of the day, that's where it rests now. But watch the statement that he gonna say. And it's going to kind of help go back to the origin statement to him talking to them scattered or whatever. Yeah, I'm in 1 Peter. And I'm at wherefore laying aside, ye also are built up in the spiritual houses and holy priesthood to offer spiritual sacrifice acceptable. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion the chief cornerstone. Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which believe not, the stone which the builders allowed. Oh, that's not the one I'm looking for. I mean, I'm going to find a verse. It ain't that hard. Having your conscience, we talked about that. Hold on, maybe it's in chapter. And if the righteous, okay. So, all right, here we go. So, 1 Peter. Yo, I thought that was a person. 1 Peter chapter 4. 1 Peter chapter 4. And let's pick it up at verse 7. And when you get there, go ahead.
But the end of all things is at hand. But be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover a multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. as every man have received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth,
Go ahead.
that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Go ahead.
Beloved, think not it strange. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you.
Uh-huh.
But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy.
Let's skip down to 15 because we're going to get where we're going.
But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yet if any man suffer as a Christian.
Now, look how he talking to him. He like, but yet if y'all suffer as a Christian. Now, here's one thing I want y'all to know too. That if this was Jews, black people they were talking to, he wouldn't have said that. You know what he would have just said? Because right now, and we could prove it, Israel getting persecuted like mug during this time. He's like, but if any of y'all suffer as a Hebrew, that's what he would have said. But he said as a Christian for a reason. But keep going though, because that's really my opinion. Can't prove that. You know what I mean? Like I can't prove what he was thinking. But we do know what was happening right then. But keep going.
Let him not be ashamed,
Mm-hmm.
but let him glorify God on this behalf.
Uh-huh.
For the time has come that judgment must be begin at the house of God.
Oh, so now look, he's saying that judgment begins at the house of God. So like this, the house, you got the house of Jacob in the Old Testament. But now he calling it the house of God. And what is he saying about it? Go ahead.
And if it first begin at us,
See, he calling all of us the house of God. Like he didn't even say like judgment first started Israel, which is what Paul actually said, the Jew first. Like if he was talking to blacks, then he talked different. You know what I mean? But he's not though. So he said he's saying for if judgment start at the house of God, go ahead.
what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God?
See, that's all he owned, Peter owned. Is either you obeying the gospel or not. You know what I'm saying? He don't really care, because really at the end of the day, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's my opinion. My opinion based off of time and observance. Ain't finna be too many Gentiles around us trying to do this. Like, you see how many it is now. You done been around. You done been to a few, enough camps to know that it's probably 1 for every 100. If that. That's a nice number because that's just the East Coast. It's less in the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like, because it takes a certain type of humility to deal with God regardless. And they don't have it. Like when I say they don't have it, I'm dealing with a Gentile right now. You listen to this lesson when I taught it the other day. I stayed up that whole night because I was dealing with a Gentile because he think he more than what he is. While you trying to be amongst us. It's not so much that we trying to give the Gentile a play. I can really care less. Our job is to be the nation to preach the gospel to the world. So yeah, we need to preach to us first. But we got to preach to the world. Here's the funny thing about it. We ain't even going to do that. We, as a people in America in 2020, is not about to preach the gospel to the whole world. 21, you right. Because really, that ain't going to really happen until we get into the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, though, it doesn't never change the responsibility of what was given in Exodus 19 to the people in Romans, as Romans 9 say, who have the services of God. Like he's talking to them, who are the Israelites? He like, yo, they got this. They got that. Not y'all. You know, that's why he's telling in Romans. That's why he said, look, don't boast against the natural. I'm going to read that. We're going to read that Romans 11. That's what we're going to read. Because we started it in the back, but I want to make sure we catch this part. If we don't catch nothing else, I just want us to catch this. This the part that convinced me. How about that? And we'll start at 11, right? Romans 11 and 11. And again, look, man, I'm going to tell you like this. One of my favorite people tell me that Melchizedek ain't Jesus. And he's still one of my favorite people. I don't care. You dig what I'm saying? Like, we cool. Right, we cool. Right. So I just want not even just, I don't even get that from you. I just want anybody to know that I'm gonna always stand on how I understand it, how I've been studying, how I learned it, what I can prove. If I stand on something else, that's gonna make me a hypocrite. But right,
I'm gonna give you what
yeah,
I'm giving you, and nobody else say that book. They're trying to say that, but you
gotcha.
really saying that. I'm
Yep.
gonna tell you what I really
Right, and that's what I right because that
nobody else give you
right. But what I want us to learn,
text or whatever.
right, right. But what I want us to learn though is that my favorite fighter is James Toney, his is Roy Jones, and we can argue till we blue in the face. That don't mean we can't be cool at the end of the day. You know, I just want everybody to comprehend that. You know what I'm saying? Not you and I, because I don't even get that from you. You know what I'm saying? But Romans 11, and let's pick it up at verse 11. And when you get there, go ahead and read.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Now, when it say, have they stumbled that they should fall, I guess we need to go back and make sure we clarify who the they is. So
Verse 1.
start at verse 1. Start at verse 1. It's all good. Go ahead.
I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid.
So, first question, has God cast away his people? That is all Israel, his people. The Asher and Judah. Because we saw Asher down in there with Judah. So we can't eliminate one. Go ahead. And she was in there as a prophetess, telling people about the kingdom. Keep going, verse 2.
For I also am an Israelite.
Oh, sorry, yo.
Verse 2.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Uh-huh.
God have not cast away his people, which he foreknew.
Mm-hmm.
Would ye not what the scripture said of
Good.
Elijah?
Verse 5.
Even so, then, at this present time also, there's a remnant according to the election of grace.
Right. So he's saying, like, right now, it's just a remnant of Israel left. Period, point blank. He's talking about right at that moment, not at our moment now. But go ahead.
And if by grace, then is it no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more works.
Okay, we're not going to get into that. Verse 7.
What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for,
Uh-huh.
but the election have attained it, and the rest were blinded.
Okay, so right there he said, so Israel haven't attained it. He was like, no, that's not how it's going to work. Israel going like he said Israel, what verse was that? Have not attained, but the election haven't attained it. Oh, so he's saying those that are chosen or the elect, they gonna get it, but the rest they blind. That's a known fact. Go ahead.
According as it is written, God have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear.
That's good. Skip down to verse 11 now.
I say then, have they stumbled that they shall fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
Right. So he's saying through the fall of Israel, this has been the subject, salvation comes on the Gentile. Go ahead.
For to provoke them to jealousy.
Right.
Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world.
So the fall of Israel be the riches of the Gentile or the world, as it said here. Go ahead.
And the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles.
And the diminishing be the riches of the, like, that's the same thing. The diminishing, the falling, it's the same thing. So he's saying all of that. So right now, verse 12 is showing us that the Gentile and the world is the same thing right there. Go ahead.
How much more the fullness?
Mm-hmm.
For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
Now notice earlier in the class today, when he the apostle to the Gentile, he's still amongst Israel though. We saw that when he went to Ephesus. He was in Ephesus, he was talking to the Israelites, and he was talking to the Gentiles. The Israelites was like, you can't talk to the Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? Like this was said, we read that today. Go ahead, verse 14.
If by any means I may provoke to immolation them which are my flesh.
Right. So he said it by 14, if I can make the people that's my flesh, my color, jealous. That's what immolation means. Go ahead. And might save some of them. So he's saying, I can, by bringing you Gentiles in, I'm trying to make my people jealous. Now, how would I be making y'all jealous if we all the same color? But keep reading.
For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead.
He's still talking to the Gentile about us. Go ahead.
For if the first fruit be holy,
we the first fruit. Go ahead.
The lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
Right. Go ahead.
And if some of the branches be broken off.
So some of the branches, some of us Israel got broken off because we was trash. Go ahead.
And thou, being a wild olive tree,
So look what he called it. He said, you from a whole nother, you from a wild olive tree. Go ahead.
wert grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the
He
root.
said, now by you being from another tree, I'm going to graft you in and let you take a part of this natural tree. He talking to Romans now. Go ahead.
And fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root.
See, he's saying, so don't boast against the natural branches to this tree, Israel. We know they the natural branches. He's like, don't boast against them. He said, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, if you're going to boast, thou bearest not the root. They bearing you, meaning they grafting you into them. We not walking around here being called Gentiles. They trying to become Hebrew Israelites. They trying to become the Jew. Keep going.
Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
See, the Roman might say, they was broken off so I can get in. Go ahead.
Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off. And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear.
He was like, look, you only hear about faith, man. Don't be arrogant. Be humble. Go ahead.
For if God spare not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee.
Go ahead.
Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fall, severity. But toward thee, goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off.
Keep going.
And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again.
Go ahead.
For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and wert grafted contrary to nature.
So notice what he said in 24. If you were cut off the olive tree, which was wild by nature, like he's trying to tell you, we ain't the same thing. And were grafted contrary to the nature into a good olive tree. Go ahead.
Into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
Man, that's why I see it the way I see it. Based off of what he's telling them right there.
Right. I see what you're saying, though, but I also see other precepts that seem to go along with this that it could possibly be.
I got what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Jeremiah 11:16, it says that those branches were broken off. That was of Israel and
Yeah.
Israel and Judah.
Yeah. No, yeah, that works. Even Isaiah 5, when it's calling, like he's saying, we divine, like all that works, but because they were broken off from us. But at the end of the day, when he's talking to the Romans, he's talking about something else. But either way, we're gonna stand face Jerusalem, close it out, and then we could talk. You know what I'm saying? Like we can sit down and talk. Well, I can sit down. You know what I mean? So it's not, we could talk about this. You got my number. You know what I mean? We can always talk about this.
Yeah. Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us of our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Oh, you say don't say nothing crazy? Yeah, I do. Oh, whoa, this ain't the same thing. Y'all done changed it? I don't know. Look here, man. I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't know.